Hello, everybody. I'm Madame Sensei. I teach Spanish, French, and Japanese to high schoolers out here in the beautiful Pacific Northwest. And today I'm going to talk about how I finally got my students on board with free voluntary reading, also known as silent sustained reading. So I first heard about this at a practical and comprehensible conference, and I really love this. This is put on by La Libre Language Learning. So I'll put a link in the description. But they have really, really great free conferences every year. And there were a lot of people who talked about it, this free voluntary reading, which I had read about, but couldn't really visualize because I don't know. It didn't occur to me. I like to read to my students. That's fine. And of course she had, as one of her guest speakers, she had Bryce Hedstrom, whom I absolutely love to pieces. And I've taken a couple of classes from him and loved seeing him again. And lots of other people also at the Practical and Comprehensible Conference talked about free voluntary reading, or sometimes they call it silent sustained reading. So this is from one of Bryce Hedstrom's books, and I put it on the board every single time we start because my students, up until recently, really needed a lot of reminding. Yeah, don't ask me if you can do something else. I'm not going to let you make up a test during this time. Don't ask to go to the restroom. You better have your book in your hand by the time the bell rings. All that kind of stuff, okay? Don't talk to each other. Oh, they want to whisper to each other about what they bought at Target. No, So, the first thing I did was I've been playing with Class Dojo. So, like with everything I do, I take a bunch of different ideas and I put them together. So, I have a friend who, Bridget, works at Class Dojo in France. And so she's been encouraging me to use it. And I'm really glad because I was kind of on the fence. Do I use Class Dojo or do I use Classcraft? And of course, because I know someone at Class Dojo, I'm going to use Class Dojo now. So, but either of them would work. Okay, so I named my tables. Okay, so I've got table groups, and we have La Belgique, le Djibouti, La France, le Luxembourg, le Madagascar, and Quebec. And then my Spanish classes also have names too, but they're just first year and they haven't started free voluntary reading yet. But you can see that for a while to get them on board, when we were done with our 10 minutes of FVR, I'd say, "Oh, Luxembourg, you did great today. There was no side whispering. I'm going to give you a point. Quebec, you did great today. You found good books. You were enthralled in your books. I'm going to give you a point." And so I made a big deal about it, giving them points. And they are super competitive about their points. And I've got little prizes for them, which I'll probably have to talk about in another video. I know that Bryce Hedstrom says don't assess them every single time they read. Well, I'm not assessing. And I think I've been pretty clear to my students, I'm not assessing you. I just want you to play with the language. Just have fun with it, okay? So the first thing I did was I made like this Rotten Tomatoes thing. And I wanted them to write the name of the book and the pages and everything. And then I decided student choice is really important. So I gave them a choice of what they were going to do and then just gave them a bunch of blank space on the bottom of the paper. Okay, so this is all the normal kinds of stuff I would do, the grafted writing, that I would do for anything we read or anything we listened to. Okay, you can choose to summarize it, describe your favorite character, describe your least favorite character, make a prediction what's going to happen, describe what would have made the story better, change a character and say how the story changes, or change one of the lines of dialogue, change the ending, who should star in the movie and why, and then my students generally like to write songs, so that's super fun when they do that. And I told them, if you write a song, then I'll sing it for the whole class. We have fun with that. Okay, then I added to that that the students sometimes, because they were kind of getting bored of the same old, So the next thing I did was choose a picture from the book. It could be a picture on the cover. It could be a picture anywhere, and just describe it. Right, 5 sentences describing it. That's all. Sometimes when we read a book whole class, like with a lot of the Tom Alsop stuff, I like to do draw me a before, during, and after comic strip. But for free voluntary reading, I don't want it to take the entire class. And if we do that, the students get really involved in their art, and it's really wonderful and everything. But for this, I didn't really want them to get super involved, and like 3 people are still working on their art, but the other 28 people are ready to move on to something else. So I just said choose one picture and describe it. And that's good. The other thing I did, as you might know, on one of my other playlists, I'm working my way through the Harvard Project Zero Thinking Routine toolbox, and I'll put a link in the description for that too. I'm just kind of experimenting with them and how can I use these in a world language classroom. And I found a bunch that are just super fun for what we're doing in free voluntary reading, just for a play with the language, guys. It's not an assessment. I just want you experimenting with the words that you just saw in the book. So the ones I really like to use are Step Inside, and I have a lot of fun with this one, okay? And I explain it in the other playlist. But basically, students choose some item in the story they were reading. So if they're reading Asterix Le Gaulois, they're going to choose the magic potion, or, you know, something like that. Maybe from the point of view of the magic potion, write what's going on. I've had my Japanese students, we were reading Beroboman, and a couple of them decided to be the banjo that falls out of the sky when Beroboman says, hey, give me some help here. So it's funny. It's funny. Trust me on this. Okay. Then there's Think, Feel, Care. Because I really think that empathy is hugely important in this day and age. And also Same, Different, Connect, Engage is another really empathetic piece. So these are both basically choose a character and connect yourself to them somehow, basically. And Unveiling Stories is just a bunch of different lenses for looking at the story, and all your colleagues in language arts, English language arts, already do this all the time. But it's just, what do you think is the global significance of the story? What do you think is the personal significance of the story, and that kind of stuff? So these are all fun, and they're all good to mix it up so that I'm not giving my students the exact same thing every single day. All right. The other thing I really like doing, but it was hard to get them here, this is a GLAD sentence patterning chart, okay? And I talk about this on another playlist about the guided language acquisition development techniques. And I basically have the students just choose randomly some words, write down 5 random adjectives, write down 5 random verbs, 5 random adverbs, 5 random locations, and I have a sign, one of my signs on the wall. Yeah, it's hard to have signs on the wall in a classroom that teaches 3 languages, but I find the space for it. Just the prepositions of location, and then have them choose places or items or whatever. And then I only have them write 4 sentences. And this is the order that they go in, okay? Unless I mentioned, hey, because this is for my French class, if you've got something that's beauty, age, number, goodness, size, put that in front, obviously. So I only have 4 questions down here, but I have them choose 5 things because I don't want them to feel like they have to read across. I want them to be a little more clever than that. And, I'm like, I don't care if the sentences make sense in the context of the story. They're going to be grammatically correct if you follow this pattern and make sure to conjugate your verb and make sure to match your adjectives to your nouns. That's all I care about, okay? It doesn't have to actually be about your story. We're just making wacky sentences. And they love this. They call it Mad Libs, okay? I'll talk about the bottom of this here. I just wanted you to see that that was there. Oh, here, I'll talk about it now. Okay, forgot what order I put these in. So I have gotten really, really big into metacognition as of late, especially post-pandemic. I really want the students to own their education. I really want the students to own what they're learning, okay? And as they're choosing books to read, a lot of them, my French 3 students, are picking up the baby books. And I'm like, ce n'était pas trop facile pour toi? Is that too easy for you? And then only then will they agree, yes, that's too easy, and they'll go back and get another book, okay? So this is my way of kind of nudging them into the right direction, okay? So first of all, reading this book was too easy, just write too hard, okay? So they just circle that or shade it in, okay? I actually want them to shade it in. Writing these sentences using words found in the story was easy. I followed the order. So this one's for the GLAD sentence patterning chart. I did not follow the order. I remembered to add the little words and conjugate the verbs, okay? And then this is for all the other ones I put at the bottom of every single page. And pretty much every single assignment we do in class, I put something like this on the bottom. Okay, writing these sentences using words found in the story was, I went for easy sentences, I feel good, I should have broken long sentences into two, because a lot of times they try to say something that's too complex, and I'm teaching them how to circumlocute. So I found that initially when we were doing this, I was standing up at the board with my living word bank, and the students were constantly asking me, "Como dit-on, blah, 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 como dit-on, blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, why wasn't that in your book? Can't you find that in your book? You know, so I really want to work on long-term memory. So getting them to look at it and think about it themselves in their book. I still do have the living word bank because sometimes they ask me for weird stuff that's not in their book. This is not an assessment of how well they read. This is just, are you playing with the words? So provided that they turn a sheet into me, and it's filled out, of course, I don't care if it's not grammatical. I don't care if they didn't conjugate the verb or they didn't match the adjective to the noun or whatever. I just want them playing with the language. I just want them using some of the words they saw. So provided that they do that, they stick it in the box at the end of, so we read for 10 minutes and then we write for 5 minutes. They stick it in the box at the end of that 15-minute span, then I'm happy. I give them 100%. Most of my assignments are worth 5 points. And you can see here, I make a note to myself which one. This was the Rotten Tomatoes one, and this was draw a picture. So I make a note to myself which one we did. If a student's absent, I just mark it as no count because they weren't here to read and they don't have my books at home. So then finally, now I've got my students on board. Finally, my chatty students are not trying to whisper anymore. I had one student a month ago she thought she could hide her book for English class behind one of my French books. And, I just had to raise an eyebrow at her and she figured it out. But now they're seriously invested in this. They're enjoying their books. I'm giving them sticky notes so that they can write their name on the sticky note and mark where they were for the long books. They're fighting over the books. They all want to read Tintin. They all want to read Asterix. They all want to have a Harry Potter book in French. They all want to read that. They're enjoying it. And sometimes on days that we don't have time to write, I just say, okay, turn and talk. Tell them what the most interesting part of your book was. And sometimes they talk in English, and that's okay because I just want them to be enjoying reading because I'm a nerd. That's why I learned so many languages, is because when I was 11 years old, I was at a science fiction convention and somebody offhandedly said, wow, Japanese has some weird science fiction. And I was like, oh, then I guess I got to learn Japanese now. And that just opened the floodgates for everything. I just want to read, and I want to imbue my students with that love of reading. So, and it's a wonderful way to learn vocabulary. You learn like 9 times faster when you're reading. So that's my story. Ask me questions about it. Ping me on the Minecraft Education Ambassadors or the Duolingo Educators Network, and I'm happy to get ideas from you too. So thanks for joining me. Hope to see you on the next one.